Good morning everyone, or good afternoon for those of you watching this afternoon. Now today in maths, we're going to be moving on from our repeated addition. Do you remember that yesterday? Repeated addition, where we said we had 4 plus 4 plus 4. We had lots of adding all together, so we had 3 lots of 4. Well, we're going to be doing something very similar to that today, but in a different layout. So we're going to be doing some more practical work, and I have got a page in your books for you to do and some examples on a Google Slides. But first, let me tell you all about it. So today, we just about make out, we're learning to count and make arrays. Arrays, you might say? What are arrays? Well, that's what I'm here to tell you today. Now, if we are solving repeated additions, we can lay them out practically using counters or stones. Pasta, I'm using Skittles again. So we can use objects to help us find the answer. So I'm going to lay out 4 Skittles here. At the moment, I've got one group of 4. And I've laid them out in a line and they have become a row. They're sitting in a row, like you would in class, sitting in a row. Now I'm going to add a second row. Just make sure they all lined up. Now I've had to turn the camera around a little bit wonky today so that you can see me, because I'm too tall, and the table, because I couldn't work out how to fit it all in. And then you still see what's going on. So now I've got 1 row, 2 rows. I've got a green row and a yellow row. So they are my rows. I'm going to add a third row now. I'm going to use my orange. There we go. So let me move those ones out. So now I've got 3 rows. I've got my green row, my yellow row and my orange row. They're all sitting together in a row. Now they're not only sitting in rows, they're also lined up this way as well. Now what we call this way, you could say it's in a line, they're actually in columns. Think about on some buildings when they've got those tall columns making them stand up, holding the roof up. Well, these are going to be our columns. So remember, we sit in rows across, we sit next to our friends. When we sit in lines, it's called columns. So when we lay out arrays like this, it has to be done very, very specially. You can't just mix it all up. You have to make sure your rows and your columns are all in line. And this will make it easier for you to count. Now we could count in 1s. We could count in 4s. Now I know that we can't really count in 4s. We haven't practiced that before. So I'm just going to change my rows a little bit. Hello, Mischief in the background. Here's another yellow one. So there is my array. This is an array. I've got rows, I've got columns, and we're going to add them up. So I've got in this row, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row. And I've got 1 row of 5, 2 rows of 5, 3 rows of 5. So if I was doing my adding today, I would have 5 plus 5 plus 5. 5 plus 5 plus 5. So I could count in 5s to help me find the answer. 5, 10, 15. So by laying our work out in arrays makes it a lot easier to know Mischief. Sorry about that, everyone. Knocked my tripod over. So by laying it out like this, makes it a lot easier for us to count. So I've got my rows, I've got my columns, I've got 3 rows of 5. Now I could also do this a different way. I chose the colours to make it a bit easier. I could have, there's 1 row. There's 2 rows. Oh, I'm not going to use the purple because you can't actually see those. They're too similar to the dark colour of my table. So I've got 1 row, 2 rows. Ah, it's drawing Skittles. 3 rows I've got 3 rows. How many have I got in a row? That's right, I've got 2 Skittles in a row. I've got 3 rows and 2 columns. So I can count this one in 2s. 2, 4, 6. So by laying it out in rows and columns, it makes it much easier for us to find the answer. Instead of us trying to count in 4s or in 6s that we don't know how to do yet, we could lay it out to make it better for us. So that's what we're going to practice in today. I'm going to be giving you on some Google Slides. Thank you, Monkey. Thank you, Mischief. Before they throw my Skittles everywhere. So today I'm going to give you some numbers, just like we have on the board, and I would like you to make those arrays for me. So remember, this one here, I've got 1, 2, 4 lots of 3. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals 12. I'm not worried about the answers today. I'm just showing you how to make arrays and how to count in arrays. That's what our learning objective is after all, to count and make arrays. So we've got 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. Now we haven't learned to count in threes, but luckily I already know. But you can count in 1s if you want to. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh no, what have I got left? Oh, I'm going to choose orange again. 1, 2, 3. So I've got 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. I've laid it out so that I've got 4 rows and 3 columns because I want 4 groups of 3. And then I can count 3, 6, 9, 12. You might want to get an older brother or sister or mum and daddy to help you count like that. Or if you want to, you can count in 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. However you want to practice counting today, that's entirely up to you. But what's more important is we learn to make our arrays. And we need to learn to make them out, the rows nice and neat and the columns nice and neat. So that's what you're going to do today. Now I've got another array to show you. Hopefully I've got enough. This array is a little bit simple. I've got 4 plus 4. Uh-oh. So if my number sentence is 4 plus 4, I've got 1 row of 4, a second row of 4. But because I don't know how to make counting 4s, if I look this way around, if I look at the columns, I've got 2s, and I know how to count in 2s. Help me count in 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8. So 4 plus 4 actually equals 8. So I'm going to give you some more on a Google slide for you to do. Now sometimes you might not have things at home that you could use, so you might want to draw them. So if I wanted to do 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 6. As I said, it's not important what the answer is today, it's important that we make the array. So you can make them practically, or you can draw arrays. So if you're ever not too sure and you ever don't have anything, I always show you a different method. So this is the drawing method. So I know that I've got 3 lots of 2 here. So I'm going to draw my first 2. Just going to do circles. So I've got 1, 2. I've done that one. I always like to tick off so I remember. Now I've got to do the next one. 1, 2, tick. And I've got my next one, 2. Now I know I've got them all. I've drawn my rows going across. That is a row. And my columns are nice and neat going down. Column. So now I can count in 2s. 2, 4, 6. So always, if you're not too sure, you can draw them out like this. And we're going to be doing a little bit more of this next week as well. But today, I just want you to practice making arrays. Remember, the answers aren't important today. I want you to practice making the number sentence using neat rows and columns. Lay them out especially. So if you had 9, if I had 3 plus 3 plus 3, I'm making sure that my rows are straight. I'm making sure that my columns are straight. Is it going to be fair if I do this? that one's not in the right place. Makes it easier if we keep them all in the right places. We don't want any of those wonky rows. If I did this one over here, is that easy for us to count? No. We need to make sure that we get our rows and our columns in line with each other, just like they're standing in a line like we do in class. So go off today, have some fun with arrays, because arrays are quite fun. I find them fun anyway. So go and have fun with arrays and enjoy your maths lesson. Bye.